National
Okay.
Board
Sure.
moderator. So Dr. Balaji is online. Sir, kindly start the day's programs.
Thank you, Mr. Raja. First of all, I would like to thank Microlab for giving us this wonderful platform. And it is really for great benefit for all the exam going students, from DM and DNB students. And welcome on behalf of Department of Nephrology for this today's Monday clinical bedside. And we are very fortunate to have Professor Sunil Prakash, who is head of Department of Nephrology and Kidney Transplantation at prestigious BL Kapoor Hospital in New Delhi. Dr. Sunil Prakash is an alumni of All India Institute of Medical Sciences with a brilliant academic career, and he has got very keen interest in research and academics, and excellent teacher and clinician. And he has got vast experience and is a wonderful examiner and is very well versed with the latest in the subject. He runs a very good DNB program, and I'm sure you will all benefit with his clinical teachings. Over to Dr. Sunil Prakash, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Balla. You have always been a source of light for all of us, and we look upon our elder brother, Sir Gangaram Hospital, for Dr. Rana, you, Dr. Ashwini. I have memories with you all for last 30 years. Without wasting much ado, I request the candidate to please start the proceeding. Over to the candidate.
Dr. Rishit Harpada. Yes. He is the exam going student at Jaslot Hospital. So, and he is the discussant today. Okay. Dr. Rishit, please.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all teachers and my friends. I'm presenting a case of Mrs. MV, a 31-year-old female who is resident of Mumbai, a graduate, a clerk by occupation, and history is given by self, and admitted presently with chief complaints of bilateral pedal edema since past 12 to 15 days, breathlessness since past 10 days, and decreased urine output since past 10 days. I would like to date back my history to 10 years back in the year 2010, when my patient had first complaints of fever with chills. This fever was moderate in nature, associated with chills, but there were no rigors. The fever was not associated with any evening rise of fever or any night sweats, and it was relieved with paracetamol. The fever was not associated with any dysuria, abdominal pain, loin pain, cough, cold, or any loose motions. Along with the fever, the patient had noted since the past few days she had increased easy fatigability and she was getting tired very easily on routine activity. Also, she had complaints of multiple joint pains, and the joint pains were present since past 10 to 15 days. The joint pains were mainly of the small joints, and they were usually involving the small joints of the hands, also the knees and elbows. It was associated with morning stiffness, and there was swelling, redness, but there was no deformity associated. For these complaints, initially, she took some over-the-counter medications and native medications, but there was no relief. So she had taken some medical advice. Also, in the course of time, she developed a reddish skin rash, which was small pinhead-sized lesions. These lesions were non-itchy, and they were present on both lower limbs as well as upper limbs. And both the upper limbs as well as lower limbs. For these complaints, she was admitted, and on evaluation, she was found to have a decreased hemoglobin and platelets. A patient remembers roughly that the hemoglobin was around 7 to 8 grams, and the platelets were around 80,000. All the routine tests were done as per patient, including dengue, leptospirosis, etc., which were negative. And then patient underwent a specialized tests in the form of ANA, and also bone marrow aspiration was done as per the patient, which was done from the iliac region. After all this, the patient was was told that she is having a condition called as SLE, and she at that point on further questioning, she had no history of any oral ulcers, no rash, no photosensitivity. There was no history of any paresthesias or numbness. There was no history of any cough, hemoptysis, edema, facial puffiness, and no hematuria or proteinuria or any urinary complaints. There was no history of any Raynaud's phenomena, or no history of any dryness of eyes or mouth, or no history of tightness of skin. On inquiry, patient said that at that time the blood pressure was also normal. The patient was counseled regarding the regarding the condition at that time, and she was started on tablet prednisolone Visalone, patient remembers 60 milligram was to be taken once in the day after breakfast. With this, the patient gradually was discharged and her symptoms improved over the next 15 to 20 days, and her fever also reduced. Patient continued to be on prednisolone for the next 6 months, and it was gradually tapered, but patient doesn't remember the exact tapering schedule. After 2 months of steroid use, patient had developed hypertension, but there were no other complaints along with this. So she was started on tablet amlodipine, which she had stopped apparently after 6 to 7 months. Patient was stable over the next 3 years, that is from 2010 to early 2014. After which patient suddenly sought medical attention for complaints of bilateral pedal edema. This pedal edema was present since past 2 months, and it was gradual in onset, gradually progressive. Initially, it was present up to the ankles, and then it had increased up to the knees. The pedal edema was associated with the facial puffiness, and she was admitted for the same. She also gave history of frothy urine, but there was no history of any hematuria, no oliguria, no other lower urinary tract symptoms, no history of any dysuria, loin pain, or any urinary complaints. At that time, a patient remembered that creatinine was normal, around 1 milligram, and the urine had significant proteinuria, around 1.5 to 2 grams. The BP was also high at that time, around 150, 160 mm of mercury, and she was counseled and admitted at the same time. After admission, a complete workup was done, and patient was counseled for kidney biopsy. Patient underwent kidney biopsy, which was USG guided, and the procedure was uneventful. After this, she was told that there are changes of the same disease of SLE, and she was started on tablet Visalone, 80 milligrams per day. She was also started on mycophenolate mofetil, that is MMF, 500 milligram, which was initially twice a day, and also HCQS was started of 400 milligram, and losartan was added for the blood pressure once a day, and Lasix was also given, and the amlodipine was stopped. She was counseled regarding other forms of treatment, but since she was young, she was started on mycophenolate. During her hospital stay, just after this, she had one episode of generalized tonic-clonic seizures, and the seizure lasted for around 30 seconds, and she gained consciousness in the next half an hour. The seizure was associated with uprolling of eyeballs as told by the husband, but there was no history of any tongue bite or no urinary incontinence. She underwent complete evaluation, also CT scan, which as per the patient was normal. And for the seizures, she was started on tablet Levipil, that is levetiracetam, 500 milligram twice a day was started. Uh, After that, the patient's course over the next week was asymptomatic and she was discharged. And over the next 15 days, the mycophenolate was increased from 500 milligram twice a day to 1 gram twice a day. Patients improved significantly with this treatment. Her pedal edema had reduced, and also the blood pressure had come under control. She was under regular follow-up, and over the next 6 months, her clinical condition was stable. There was no history of any infection, no history of any diarrhea or hospitalization following this treatment. After 6 months of the treatment with mycophenolate mofetil, it was stopped and patient was shifted to azathioprine. On inquiry, patient says because of non-affordability, azathioprine was started. Initially, the dose was 50 milligram once a day, which was increased to 100 milligram once in the night. After this, the patient continued to be well. Her creatinine was normal. Hemoglobin platelets were also normal as per the patient. The BP was well controlled and the proteinuria had reduced. Patient continued to be in follow over the next 2 to 3 years. After 1.5 years of this episode of the lupus, she had a history of 2 spontaneous conceptions. The spontaneous conceptions had a termination in the first trimester of pregnancy itself, and there were no complications after this. Gradually, over the next 6 months, the prednisolone was tapered to 5 milligram. And in this course, she had no history of any diminution of vision, no history of any repeated infection, no history of difficulty in getting up from squatting position, no history of any bone pain or any hyperglycemia or repeated hospitalization. After total 2.5 years after the after the kidney episode, Patient after 2.5 years, azathioprine was stopped, and patient continued to be on steroids, HCQS, losartan, and the anticonvulsant. After 1 year of that, that is total 3.5 years from the episode, the steroids were also stopped in the year 2018. Patient continued to be asymptomatic with normal blood pressure, normal creatinine over the next 1.5 years. And as per the patient, she continued to be on routine follow over the next every 3 to 4 months. Patient continued to be on losartan as well as Levipil for this time. In January 2020, that is total in this year, early 2020, she sought medical attention for the presenting complaints of pedal edema, which was present since 12 to 15 days, decreased urine output, and breathlessness since past 10 days. The pedal edema was initially gradually onset, gradually progressive, initially up to ankle, and then it went up to the knees, and it was associated with facial puffiness. She also noted that there is a history of decrease in output, and she said that the frequency and the amount both had reduced in her. And initially, she was passing small quantity urine only 4 to 5 times a day. She also had a history of dyspnea, and it was present on exertion, initially grade 2, which increased to grade 3, grade 4, but there was no associated orthopnea or no paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. Along with these complaints, she had no complaints of any chest pain, palpitation, or any other cardiac illness. There was no history of any hematuria, no history of dysuria, loin pain, fever, nausea, vomiting. There was no history of hemoptysis or nasal or oral ulcers. Also, there was no history of fever in this episode or prior in the preceding days. And there was no history of any NSAIDs or any Ayurvedic drug consumption during this time. So for this complaint, she was admitted, and on admission, she was found that her urine output was only 100 ml per day, and the BP was also very high of 180 millimeters as per patient, and creatinine had increased to 9 milligram per cent. For these complaints, she was admitted in the ICU, and she was counseled regarding the condition, family and patient both, and she was initiated on renal replacement therapy in the form of hemodialysis through the insertion of right IJV HD catheter, which was temporarily was inserted. Also, the losartan was stopped at this time, and the hemodialysis was initiated. She underwent 3 sessions of hemodialysis in the ICU, with which her pedal edema and breathlessness had reduced. The dialysis sessions were well tolerated, and she did not have any complaints. However, her urine output still continued to be low. Her creatinine after dialysis has come down to around 3-4, and at this point, patient was counseled for a repeat kidney biopsy. Patient and family had agreed, and patient underwent USG guided kidney biopsy. The procedure was uneventful, and post the kidney biopsy, patient was told that she's also having, at that time she also had hemoglobin was low, around 6 to 7, so she was transfused 2 packed cells. So post the biopsy, patient was told that she had a severe form of lupus as per the patient, SLE, and she was explained regarding all forms of treatment, including special treatment of plasmapheresis, and she was told that she will be given an injection, IV injection, cyclophosphamide, which she will have to take every 15 days. So post this, patient was initiated on plasmapheresis, and also she received 1 dose of cyclophosphamide, and she was also given injection steroids. Within 7 days of starting of treatment, patient developed fever. The fever was high grade, and it was associated with chills and rigors. The blood cultures and all routine tests were done at this time, and the patient was started on antibiotics. And also the HD catheter was removed at this point, and with this the fever subsided. Patient had started passing good amount of urine output, and no new HD catheter was inserted, and she was managed conservatively. Over the next 15 days, her creatinine came down to around 3.5 to 4 milligram per cent, and urine output had also improved to around 750 to 1 liter. She presently had no fever and no other complaint, and blood pressure as per the patient was well controlled. So this is my history of present.
Okay. So we stop here. You have given us a very profound account of the patient. My first question to you would be, what do you think happened to her when she was first seen by a physician and she at that time was told to have SLE? right?
Yes.
Before biopsy.
Yes, sir.
What do you think was the diagnosis at that time?
So most likely she had a SLE only with extrarenal features. Like at that time, predominantly the extrarenal features were very prominent in the form of fever, joint pain, easy fatigability, and
Right.
also she had
So,
decreased platelets.
what is the commonest manifestation of a lupus?
The commonest manifestation is the joint pain. So it is present around 90%
No,
of
it is fatigue.
fatigue.
It
Yes.
is fatigue. And what is peculiar about joint pains in lupus?
So they are non-deforming type of joint pains.
Supposing
Non-
I say that she was having rheumatoid at this time, the physician was not very smart. Possibly ANA must have been done,
Yes.
and ANA must have come positive or whatever, because no biopsy was done. We don't have any hard organ evidence of lupus.
Yes.
Supposing I say she had rheumatoid, because you remember telling me morning stiffness and all those things,
Yes.
symmetric involvement. So how will you counter my argument? I am in 2007 at this point.
So rheumatoid arthritis, it will have sparing of the distal interphalangeal joint. So on inquiry, I will ask whether the DIP joint has been spared or not. So that can be one of the things on which I can see it is there. And sir, usually the joint pain of rheumatoid arthritis is deforming as compared to SLE, sir, in which it is not.
Deformity will come after some time. Na? Initially, to morning deformity, erosion. See, rheumatoid has erosions.
Yes, sir.
Lupus will not have erosive arthritis, correct?
Yes.
So there will not be much deformity, but sometimes even in SLE we have seen Dana-Fock deformity and this ulnar deviation and these kind of things, because there is overlap also. You know, rheumatoid SLE overlap may be occurring, and so many things could be occurring.
Yes.
What else could have been occurring to this patient at that time?
So maybe
Will you
sir,
maintain any differential diagnosis in 2010?
so that time she was evaluated for all viral.
Supposing the report was changed, these things happen in the hospital, or the physician was not competent, or the patient forgets. We cannot take it with a pinch of salt. In examination, you will have the report. I have the right to question the diagnosis of SLE at that time. So what else you would be thinking at that time?
So whether she had any viral fevers, or like chikungunya or dengue, so which could have presented with rash, fever, joint pain.
Very good. So let's not forget our common conditions, and even malaria can masquerade anything. She had chills and all.
Yeah.
Can you have joint pains and all those symptoms in tuberculosis also? Can tuberculosis masquerade because she had fever?
Yes, sir.
Short duration.
So it can present, but sir, it would usually involve either the knee joint or something, not like lot of joints.
So I'm saying just pains, aches, fatigue. Yes. That was the symptom, na?
Yes.
What is against tuberculosis at that point of time?
So the patient had there was no history
short
of any
short history. See, I'm just trying to shake you.
Yes.
You know, it is my duty to shake you.
Yes.
You all know that she has lupus nephritis for all it matters, and Professor Bhalla is there.
Yes.
He'll be laughing at my questions, but the examiner has a right to ask anything. And so I will say, I will not think of tuberculosis, short history, and you have very clearly given me a history of petechiae and all, which I will have difficulty in explaining with tuberculosis. Okay.
Yes.
So, supposing you were at the hem of the affairs and at the time of diagnosis of lupus, what do you think went wrong with this patient? What you would have done different? You understand my question?
Yes, sir.
At that time, perhaps there is no evidence of kidney involvement. She is only having SLE, right?
Yes, sir.
Whether she has or whether she does not have, we do not have evidence.
Yes.
Because there is no urinary finding, there is nothing.
Yes.
And so we don't know.
Yes, sir.
So what else you would do at this point of time in 2010, 2011, and how would you have treated this patient till 40?
Sir, actually at that time I would first confirm the diagnosis. So I would do all the immunological tests also to confirm in the form of ANA, dsDNA. I would like to see the complements, whether they were low or not, to see the activity.
Okay. Go slow, go one by one.
Yes.
Tell me the utility of the test you will do in ascending order. Start from basic to upwards.
Sir, first I would like to do routine evaluation, sir, in the form of CBC, a complete blood count, which will give us an idea regarding the hemoglobin, whether there is any anemia present.
What type of anemia you expect in this patient?
Sir, normocytic, normochromic type of anemia will be.
Could there be any different type of anemia?
Sir, there can be a megakaryocytic anemia in some
No.
patients who
They
are on
have
azathioprine
normocytic anemia.
anemia. Yes.
But if there is a different kind of anemia, it has sinister perturbations. It has sinister perturbations. I'll give you a hint. There may be an evidence of MAHA or hemolysis. That may be the first thing will show
Yes,
up.
sir. Autoimmune
It
hemolytic
would be a bad
anemia.
idea in CBC to look at the peripheral smear
Yes.
to see if the retics are a little bit up. They may or may not be up, but it's a very small test and gives you the same output. So keep an eye on that type of anemia also. But predominantly, I agree with you. It will be anemia of a chronic inflammatory disease. Yes, and you will look at platelets. You look at WBC.
Yes. We'll look at the renal functions in the form of creatinine.
No. You will not do ESR. Why are you
Yes, sir.
running?
Yes, sir.
Creatinine is one, my dear
Yes,
son. Creatinine is one. What else will renal function tell you? Your phosphorus will be normal, calcium will be normal, urea would be normal. Although you can argue that one is more for a young woman, we don't know her weight, but
yes,
we'll let it pass that the renal functions are normal. What
yes,
else will you do?
So ESR to see for the
I don't
ESR.
want to go into hi-fi stuff.
Yes, sir. So ESR, sir, and so urine routine I would like to see.
Yes. So please, always, you are a nephrologist.
Yes.
Physicians will start with blood. A good nephrologist will start with urine.
Yes.
Because urine is the photograph of the kidney.
Yes.
Any nephrologist who forgets urine is digging his own grave. You see? Always start with urine is my request. So
Yes.
what do you look in urine here?
Sir, in urine, we like to see presence of any proteinuria, and sir, we'll proceed for the presence of any hematuria, which can be microhematuria or macrohematuria, and sir, we'll see for the presence of cast, and sir, dysmorphic RBCs, acanthocytes.
Okay, when a dysmorphic RBC is significant.
Sir, dysmorphic RBCs are significant, sir, when when sir, the level is more than 20%, sir. If more than 20%.
No, I don't agree with you, son. I don't agree with you. Who's your boss? Dr. Bahadur is your boss?
Yes, sir. No.
Give him my regards. He's a very dear friend.
Yes.
I don't agree with your definition of dysmorphic RBC. What are acanthocytes?
Yes, sir. Acanthocyte should be more than 5%.
Belimumab, but before we go to belimumab, there is a big clinical paradigm of, it's a very interesting problems. We can discuss this patient till 12 o'clock. There's so many things that has happened to this patient.
Yes.
But we try to cover as much as we can.
Yes.
So what do you understand by acanthocytes?
So acanthocytes are, sir, RBCs which are present in the blood, sir, which are having an abnormal shape in the form of spikes, sir. They may have the presence of spikes on their surface, so they can be acanthocytes. And
Spike classically नहीं कहते, वो prolongation उनके circular से होते हैं, उस type के. Anyway, तो RBC के वो numbers पढ़ लेना, dysmorphic कहने के लिए specific figure है.
Yes.
If I remember, 5% and above है.
5% of acanthocytes, sir.
तो उसको चेक कर लेना, ठीक है? अच्छा, चलो और क्या करोगे? यूरिन कर लिया, आरबीसी कास्ट अगर एक भी मिल गई सिग्निफिकेंट होती है.
Yes.
और क्या करोगे?
Sir, we like to, sir, if proteinuria is present, we like to quantify the proteinuria, so either with a 24-hour urine.
अगर सपोजिंग इस पेशेंट में क्या एक्सपेक्ट करते थे तुम इस टाइम पे? प्रोटीनूरिया कैसा होगा?
So either it will be absent or sir, it will be sub-nephrotic range of proteinuria.
It could be non-nephrotic,
Non-nephrotic.
proteinuria. ठीक है, चलो क्या करोगे? What else will you do?
So we'll do the immunological test in the form of ANA. Sir,
डेफिनेटली नहीं करोगे, ग्लोबुलिन्स नहीं देखोगे, एल्बुमिन ग्लोबुलिन नहीं देखोगे.
Yes.
Why do you want to see globulins?
Sir, to see if they are
तुम भाग रहे हो. Why are you running after ANA? उससे पहले सिंपल चीजें कर लो ना. Why do you want to see globulins?
Sir, to see if there is any hypergammaglobulinemia which can be present because of any chronic disease, and to see for reversal of the AG ratio.
Yeah,
and if there is hypoalbuminemia.
You remember, I asked this thing just to tell you, SLE is a state of B-cell dysfunction predominantly.
Yes, sir.
SLE has many problems. Nobody understands the etiopathogenesis in full. Books are written on it, but we understand that there is B-cell dysregulation, T helper cell, T suppressor, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of B-cell production, so you expect a lot of globulin sitting out there. Okay, what else? Okay, now let's come to specific tests. You want to do ANA?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So ANA इसका पॉजिटिव आया.
Yes.
1/20 तो क्या तुम इसको सिग्निफिकेंस दोगे?
Sir, no, sir. We'll like to do in dilutions, and sir, like 1:40 or 1:80 will be significant on immunofluorescence.
Which method you will employ in doing ANA?
Sir, indirect immunofluorescence, sir, is the
Indirect
recommended fluorescence. Yes.
आजकल क्या यूज करते हैं लाइन इसमें?
Sir, Hep2 cell line is used for to see the ANA.
Earlier we used to use mouse lines and we used to have false positive. What could be other causes of ANA positivity that you know?
Sorry, sir, I didn't get your question.
ANA positivity का और क्या यहाँ पे differential हो सकते हैं?
It can be present in multiple other conditions in the form of rheumatoid arthritis. It can be present in mixed
और
connective.
collagen vascular में मिल जाएगा.
Yes.
और one group is or collagen vascular disease. Whereas can you have ANA?
And sir, it can be present in IBD also. Some patients can have
Liver disorders, IBD.
too.
Drugs which can give rise to positive ANA. Drugs.
So yes, sir. They are drug-induced in the form of pyrazine, isoniazid, procainamide, methyl dopa, etc. They can cause
You have to remember.
positive ANA. Yes.
You have to remember them. Hydralazine is very important, especially now it is coming back as antihypertensive.
Yes.
Hydralazine, procainamide, I don't think so anybody uses so much. But hydralazine is very important. It is coming back as an antihypertensive also in combination. You have to.
Yes.
Okay. So there are many conditions which ANA may be positive.
Okay.
So what other things you will do?
Sir, if ANA is positive, sir, we like to do a dsDNA. So because ANA has good sensitivity, but dsDNA has
Can you
better
do specific?
specificity.
I will allow you only 2 tests for lupus.
Sorry, sir.
I will allow you only 2 more tests. Patient के पास पैसे नहीं है ना, उसने MMA भी दिखा पाई थी. सिर्फ 2 टेस्ट को मैं अलाउड है और क्या करोगे ANA के?
So one will be dsDNA, and sir, one I'll do C3, sir.
Very good. I agree with you. I'll grant that to you. Other tests are not redundant. अच्छा चलो अब तुम इसको अगर ट्रीट कर रहे होते हो, तुमने लूपस तुमने एस्टैब्लिश कर लिया, प्रोटीनूरिया है और आरबीसी है और तुमने उससे कहा बायोप्सी करो, उसने बायोप्सी को मना कर दिया क्योंकि बायोप्सी हुई नहीं ना, तो हमें वही चेन ऑफ इवेंट्स फॉलो करना है. हाउ वुड यू हैव ट्रीटेड दिस पेशेंट?
Sir, if blood pressure was
ANA पॉजिटिव है, DSDNA पॉजिटिव है, C3 थोड़ा लो है.
yes,
प्रेशर तो तुमने बताया उस वक्त नॉर्मोटेंसिव थी और क्रिएटिनिन 1 था. ये स्टोरी है. अब तुम इसे कैसे ट्रीट करते? तुम्हारे पास यंग फीमेल of 21 at that time.
sir, since there was blood like hematuria and proteinuria, sir, I would think that most likely she's having either class 3 lupus. So, sir, I will counsel her, and since she's in childbearing age, I would start with steroids and mycophenolate mofetil, sir, in order to prevent any effects on the fertility. So, sir, I like to start MMF, sir, at that point of time. In the dose of initially, sir, I will start at 500. I will start at 2 grams.
डोज की
and
बात
then
फिर
yes, sir, and then increase to 3 grams.
सपोजिंग ये चलो अच्छा डोज की बात कर लेते हैं. डोज की बात पहले कर लेते हैं. सपोजिंग ये DPLN4 था ये, ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
एग्रेसिव डिजीज थी, तो तब तुम इसको कितना देते डोज?
Sir, 2 to 3 grams per day of
एक फिगर
mycophenolate.
बताओ. You cannot say 2, you cannot say 3. There are different
3 grams. 3 grams, sir, has to be given.
किसने दिया है? Who has given 3 grams?
Sir, the ALMS trial, sir, as per of lupus management study trial, sir, they had compared.
Eurolupus recommends 3 grams. Eurolupus, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Eurolupus recommends 3 grams, and I have also found in my practice that if you hit them hard right from the beginning, they may do well. Although at this point of time, there may be conjecture. Professor Bhalla and Dr. Gupta is also online, because at this time, there is not very hard evidence of her getting into lupus nephritis. But supposing she was not lupus, then okay, now let's go to 2014 when a biopsy was done. Okay, now we are on firmer wicket, because between 11-14 there can be many schools of thought. Some people will not like to give MMF with a very quiet disease running into 3 years. 3 years of MMF, she will not have pregnancy, right?
Yes.
Okay, my first question to you is, how did she get pregnant? The story on that is little vague to me. You said 2 spontaneous pregnancies.
So actually, this happened in 2016-17. So at that time, it had happened, sir. In 2014, sir, she initially had the.
Let's discuss pregnancy since I asked you. What happened at that time? How did she become pregnant?
So she said that spontaneously she had 2 pregnancies. So when she was on azathioprine at that.
उनके बीच में कोई interval होगा ना?
हाँ, sir. Around 9 to 10 months, so was like around 1 year, so was the interval.
Between
Approximately
1 year had gone.
Yes.
And why did she abort? At what?
Sir, it was a spontaneous abortion in first trimester.
It was not induced.
No, sir. It was a spontaneous abortion.
What makes you think about it? If you now I give you this patient,
yes.
You already had a biopsy.
Yes.
And let us say you were treating her appropriately,
Yes.
and she became pregnant. Who is at fault? What you would have done different to allow pregnancy or prevent pregnancy?
No, sir, it would be fault of us, like, sir, because we should have counseled her regarding the contraception, and we should have
क्या
explained her.
contraception
Sorry, sir.
क्या
So,
contraception इस
so
करोगे सी
barrier contraception would be.
क्या ना barrier contraception बकवास है यार. It's no good. Contraception you have to be very sure in SLE because your patient had 2 pregnancies.
Yes.
पहली बात तो उसको आपको कॉन्ट्रासेप्शन एडवाइस करना था और
Yes.
सबसे पहले आप कॉन्ट्रासेप्शन एडवाइस करोगे. क्यों एडवाइस करोगे कॉन्ट्रासेप्शन? एवरी यंग वुमन वांट्स टू हैव अ चाइल्ड यार.
Yes.
उसकी माँ उसको सास घर से निकाल देगी उसको अगर बच्चा नहीं पैदा करेगी तो.
Yes.
लोअर मिडिल क्लास है तो कॉन्ट्रासेप्शन बैरियर आई डोंट एग्री. दिस यू हैव टू रीड. आई विल नॉट गिव यू एनी हिंट.
Sure.
एस्ट्रोजन प्रोजेस्टेरोन कॉम्बिनेशन अगर मैं लिखता हूँ तो तुम उसको ओके कर दोगे?
So estrogen will have a high risk of thrombotic events also. So ideally estrogen should be
मैं तुम्हारा
avoided.
बॉस को मैंने लिख दिया, कैसे जस्टिफाई करोगे पेशेंट के सामने? यू कैन नॉट क्रिटिसाइज योर बॉस ना. अब बॉस सनकी है तुम्हारा, उसने लिख दिया, मैंने लिख दिया. कैन आई गेट अवे? I can. You have to give very small doses of estrogen, but you should do IUD. IUD आते हैं आजकल, वैसे भी आते हैं जिसमें वो ड्रग एल्यूट होती रहती है. That is the safest contraception. And many people will give long-acting progesterones also. लेकिन उसके भी ups and downs हैं. But in your exam, you will answer IUD. And the examiner like me, who is foolish and forces you, say yes, sir. If you insist, I will give very small dose of estrogen progesterone combination. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. प्रेगनेंसी से पहले अब वो तुम्हारी कंप्लायंट पेशेंट है, वो पूछ रही है कि सर मैं प्रेग्नेंट होना चाहता हूँ, तुम क्या करोगे?
Sir, if the disease is quiescent, sir, like if the lupus is quiescent for at least 6 months, sir, then we can counsel her that she can get pregnant. But before that, sir, we have to ensure that she is not on any fetotoxic drugs in the form of
क्वाइसेंट वो तो खैर नहीं दोगे, एमएमएफ हटा लो, उन्होंने भी हटा दिया. क्वाइसेंट कैसे एस्टैब्लिश करोगे?
So, like the patient does not have, like patient is in complete remission. There is no presence of proteinuria or hematuria at that point of time.
300 मिलीग्राम प्रोटीन आ रहा है 24 घंटे में, 300 मिलीग्राम आ रहा है, क्रिएटिनिन 1 है, और बीपी कंट्रोल्ड है.
So then we'll counsel her that sir to wait for some time, and so we'll also check the complements, sir, at that point to see for disease activity. Sir, if the complements are normal.
डिजीज एक्टिविटी क्या क्या देखना चाहोगे?
Sorry, sir.
डिजीज एक्टिविटी कैसे देखोगे?
The complement levels we can see, and so dsDNA titers, so we can know we can follow if they are coming down. Yes.
सपोजिंग मैं कहता हूँ इसको IgA था, कैन शी हैव IgA नेफ्रोपैथी?
सर
देखो तुम्हें उसने कह दिया ना SLE है, उसमें 2 बार SLE है या नहीं है. सपोजिंग SLE नहीं था, इसको IgA था. What is against IgA at this point of time? What is running against IgA, or can it be IgA?
So IgA will usually sir, it usually presents with mainly hematuria and hypertension, and sir the complement levels will be normal.
होता है IgA बड़ा variegated होता है.
So the complements will be normal in IgA, whereas in lupus the complement levels will be low, and
lupus में complement levels हमेशा लो रहेंगे, quiescent disease में भी लो रहेंगे?
नहीं sir, in quiescent disease it will be low.
अभी तो quiescent है. IgA के देखो इसको पेटिकिए थे, IgA में पेटिकिए होंगे.
IgA vasculitis में sir they can get petechiae, but
और किस illness में पेटिकिए होंगे lupus के साथ? मैं नहीं मान रहा इसको lupus है.
The cryoglobulinemia is also present.
Very good. How will you measure cryoglobulins? अब तुमने क्वेश्चन पूछा तो उसका अगला क्वेश्चन तुम्हारे क्वेश्चन से निकलेगा. ये हमेशा याद रखना बेटे. एग्जामिनर क्वेश्चन सोच के नहीं आता. तुम देखो जो तुम बोल रहे हो मैं वहां से टेक अप कर रहा हूँ. But I will try to prevent you. I will try to disturb your diagnosis legally and ethically, just to see how deeply you can think in stress situations. That is all. That is the mode of examination. We all know you are very good boys. You guys know more than what I knew in your shoes. So how do you measure cryoglobulins?
So we have to collect it in the EDDS tube, and sir it has to be collected at 37.
भैया नहीं पता तो कह दो एग्जामिनर से नहीं पता.
And sir
तो अच्छा खासा जा रहे हो, EDD ट्यूब का क्रायोग्लोबुलिन से कोई मतलब नहीं है, कोई मतलब नहीं है. इसका क्लू सिर्फ वर्ड क्रायो में.
Sir, temperature should be collected at 37 degrees. It should be collected.
EDTA का नाम भी मत लेना, बहुत सिंपल टेस्ट है, इसको अच्छे से सब लोग जो भी सुन रहे हैं, all the listeners, my request is 5 मिनट लगेंगे. आप क्रायोग्लोबुलिन कैसे कलेक्ट करते हैं, कैसे मेजर करते हैं, इट्स अ सिंपल टेस्ट लेकिन कम्बरसम है. द क्लू इज इन कम्बरसमनेस एंड यू शुड रीड दैट. ओके, और क्या सोचोगे? ये हो
So any
गया.
vasculitis. Vasculitis can also present with rash, sir, but
Which
for
vasculitis?
age. Sir, GPA can present with rash.
Very good. Let's not forget, although she is female, she is young, I'm happy that you're thinking widely. I like that. GPA should be kept in mind. It could also bring up rashes. So you should not get enamored with one diagnosis. You should keep your mind open. Although she appears to be a very straightforward SLE. कौन ज़्यादा common है हमारी country में, lupus या IgA?
So IgA is not common.
So इसीलिए मैं IgA को press कर रहा हूँ. और ANCA associated disease, non-associated granulomatosis को मैं इतना नहीं सोचूंगा. Why?
So because young age is there. And
Young age, female है.
female.
Agree. अगर ये रोमेटॉइड होती तो उसकी प्रेगनेंसी कैसे जाती? इसकी प्रेगनेंसी तो डिवास्टेटिंग हुई ना.
हाँ सर.
रोमेटॉइड में क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे? अगर सपोज हमने शुरू में डिस्कस किया ना, रोमेटॉइड है.
Yes sir. Sir, if she was on any DMRDs or something, then sir she can have lot of fetal abnormalities at that point.
नहीं, मेरा क्वेश्चन बड़ा सिंपल है. आई एम नॉट एन अथॉरिटी ऑन रोमेटॉइड बिकॉज़ शायद स्पेलिंग भी नहीं पता रोमेटॉइड की, बट आई नो फॉर श्योर that in rheumatoid you can have ANA, in SLE you can have rheumatoid factor. तो नंबर ये है कि rheumatoid SLE में क्या टेस्ट हेल्प करेगा most of it besides dsDNA?
So anti-CCP and
anti-CCP हेल्प करेगा. और rheumatoid की प्रेगनेंसी में क्या peculiarity है? After this we go forward.
So I'm not aware.
Rheumatoid प्रेगनेंसी को मतलब सपोर्ट करता है, क्वाइट हो जाता है. As far as I remember, I'm again not a rheumatologist. Rheumatoid becomes little quiet. Unlike SLE, SLE can remain quiet or it can really flare in your face, like in her patient. Okay, what was the term at which she aborted? First trimester.
First trimester, yes.
What happened to her? Do you think? Why did she abort?
Sir, it was spontaneous abortion. So, sir, most likely, sir, if she had an underlying APLA or something, so that could have caused the abortion.
Or it could be a related condition, like it could be a local gynecological condition since it was spontaneous abortion.
Yes.
Normally, you would expect some fireworks in lupus before a patient aborts, right?
Yes.
Oh. So at this time, the patient, you are in charge of the patient and you gave her MMF and steroids. And
Yes.
subsequently, you have to change to AZA on financial issues.
Yes.
How would you have taken the patient forward? How long would you have continued with immunosuppression?
Sir, ideally there is no set time for giving the immunosuppression for maintenance therapy, but sir, minimum it should be given for at least 36 months. That is 3 years of maintenance therapy should be given, and sir, we at least after like 2.5 to 3 years after the induction, sir. So I would also give for around 3 years after the first.
और क्या दोगे इसमें? What else you would like to give her?
Sir, and the anti-proteinuric measures in the form of
वो तो दिए उसने लोसार्टन दिया होगा
yes,
उसने.
and HCQS, sir, is very
HCQS
important.
का क्या advantage है? Why do we want HCQS?
So HCQS has the advantage that, sir, it acts as an anti-inflammatory and anti-thrombotic, and sir, it has been shown in studies that it helps to reduce the incidence of relapses, and it helps in retarding the progression to CKD. So sir, it is important, and also
Not
reduces.
about retarding the progression of CKD, but yes, I will agree that it is anti-inflammatory and it has anti-thrombotic properties. Okay, that I will agree. So ये patient को spontaneous abortion हुए and you're thinking of APLA. क्या test और करोगे APLA के लिए?
Sir, APLA के लिए sir, we'll see the lupus anticoagulant and sir, beta-2 microglobulin and anti-cardiolipin antibodies. So they will be the tests which we'll see. And so for
arterial thrombosis ज़्यादा common है, venous thrombosis ज़्यादा common है. APLA with lupus में.
the arterial.
Arterial थोड़ी ज़्यादा common है, yes. Okay. So you would have continued immunosuppression for long,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And again, the question, if you wanted to become pregnant, you would have gone to azathioprine and removed losartan, which I think was done.
Done. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you would proceed with pregnancy.
Right.
प्रॉब्लम क्या है प्रेगनेंसी और लूपस में? व्हाई वी आर सो abhorrent unlike rheumatoid? Why are we so worried with pregnancy issues in lupus? Tell me issues of pregnancy with lupus.
Sir, because there is a very high chance of relapse, sir, that can happen in the lupus. Sir, there can be a relapse, sir, which happens in the lupus, and it can be associated with poor maternal as well as fetal outcomes. In sir maternal, the patient can have
ऐसे बताओ मेरे को,
the maternal, the patient can
प्रेगनेंसी
have,
लूपस को क्या करेगी, लूपस प्रेगनेंसी को क्या
sorry,
करेगी? So classically as nephrologists we were taught what will pregnancy do to lupus,
Yes, yes.
to the patient, and what will
Uh,
lupus do to,
yes,
और उसके दो पार्ट्स है प्रेगनेंसी के, प्रेगनेंसी एंड फीटस. कंट्रासेप्शन बात कर चुके, तो तीन
sir,
हमारे सामने.
sir, around 1/3 lupus will remain poisoned, so 1/3 will improve, and so 1/3 can have relapse in pregnancy. And sir, lupus in pregnancy, sir, if it is not controlled, so then there is a high chance that there can be adverse maternal and fetal outcomes. In sir, maternal outcomes, so there is increased incidence of preeclampsia.
Okay, tell me how will you differentiate preeclampsia from activity of lupus in pregnancy? Preeclampsia, I agree, I totally agree. ये प्राइमरी में ज्यादा होगा, मल्टी में ज्यादा होगा?
The primary will have more of.
और क्या एडवर्स फैक्टर्स हैं प्रेगनेंसी के लूपस के लिए? प्राइमरी पेशेंट्स हुआ है, वेपला पॉजिटिविटी, यंगर पेशेंट, है ना, ये सब होते हैं. अगर उनके थ्रोम्बोसाइट काउंट्स लो हैं टू स्टार्ट में, चलो अब उसको प्रीएक्लेम्शिया हो गया. मैं कहता हूँ डिजीज एक्टिविटी है, आप कहते हो प्रीएक्लेम्शिया है.
So preeclampsia,
how do we settle this issue?
So preeclampsia will usually present with for the blood pressure which will increase after 20th weeks of pregnancy. Sir, in lupus, sir, if it is the relapse happens early, so the blood pressure may be high from the starting, and so we can measure the levels of complement. So if complement levels are low, it will go more in favor of lupus, and sir, if it is high, then sir, if it is normal, sir, it will go in
और कॉम्प्लीमेंट तो महंगे हैं, कुछ सस्ता काम नहीं कर सकते यार, बम्बई वाले बड़े महंगे कुछ सस्ते
urine sir, to see for presence of any
देखोगे, लेकिन उसमें भी प्रोटीन आ रहा है, प्रेगनेंसी में भी प्रीएक्लेम्शिया में प्रोटीन आ जाएगा भाई.
Yes, sir, any RB
सेडिमेंट्स देखोगे ना,
sediments, yes,
यू एक्सपेक्ट कि लूपस में ज्यादा होंगे एक्टिव. और
any
स्मीयर्स में वही सब देखोगे, महा वगैरह अगर मिल गया, एसजीओटी बड़े मिल गए, तो ये सजेस्ट करेंगे
more preeclampsia, sir.
हाँ, तो इनको क्यों भूल रहे हो? हर गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट कराती है यार.
Yes,
एवरी गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट विल डू इट. अब तुम सीधे और एएनए डीएसडीएनए के पीछे पड़े रहोगे, 4-5 हजार रुपए से खर्च करा दोगे. अगर ओटीपीटी डिरेंज हो रहे हैं,
yes,
स्मीयर में कुछ एक्टिविटी दिख रही है, तो इट इज सेफ टू अज्यूम कि प्रीएक्लेम्शिया. एक बार तुमने बिल्कुल ठीक कही कि 20 वीक्स के बाद फायरवर्क स्टार्ट हो रहे हैं, तो प्रीएक्लेम्शिया है.
yes,
राइट, गुड. सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आपको डिफरेंशिएट करना होगा. अब लूपस एक्टिविटी है 20 हफ्ते में, आप क्या करोगे? डिजीज फ्लेयर कर रही है.
yes, sir. Sir, ideally we should avoid biopsy, and sir, we will treat it by increasing the dose of corticosteroids, and we can give azathioprine, and sir, we have to continue the HCQs at that time. Sir, pulse methylprednisolone can be given in pregnancy to reduce the activity of the lupus.
और कुछ ये सब तो चल ही रहा था, आई रिमेम्बर ये सब तो चल ही रहा था. और कुछ
sir, ecosprin should be added in all patients after 16 weeks.
हाँ, इकोस्प्रिन ऐड कर दो. विटामिन डी का रोल है. और क्या करोगे स्पेसिफिकली फॉर लूपस? विटामिन डी के लेवल्स हाई रखने चाहिए लूपस में प्रेगनेंसी में. प्रोटेक्टिव इफेक्ट्स एंड सम पेपर्स आर देयर. और क्या करोगे?
And sir, if it doesn't get controlled, then we can start CNIs, so they can be.
हाँ, करेक्ट. सो यू शुड थिंक ऑफ स्टार्टिंग टैग. अगर प्रेगनेंसी प्रेशियस है, ओवर डायमंड है कि कैरी करना है, तो यू माइट नीड टू ब्रिंग इन टैग, है ना, टैग. यस, ओके. और क्या प्रॉब्लम आएंगी प्रेगनेंसी में लूपस से?
सर, इन fetal outcomes
हो गया, प्रीएक्लेम्शिया हो गया, है ना. fetal outcomes बताओ.
Prematurity can happen. Sir, intrauterine growth retardation or intrauterine death can happen in fetal outcomes.
अगर तुम श्योर नहीं हो कि डिजीज एक्टिविटी है, तो कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा? और ये क्या टेस्ट कराओगे प्रेगनेंसी में जो तुम्हें हेल्प करेगा फीटस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से? हमें तो पता ही है ना इसको लूपस है और रिविजन में ये टेस्ट बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है. Besides CLFT and all those things, this is very important.
So cardiotopography to see like any.
Congenital heart block होता है बच्चों में,
हाँ,
सिर्फ
yes.
ये ROA बताता है उसको, तो ROA कर लेना चाहिए लास्ट to get some handle. और इसकी भी फैमिली हिस्ट्री चलेगी, अगर पहले बच्चों में हुआ तो इसलिए ROA कर लेना चाहिए हमें. ओके.
Yes.
और आगे कैसे प्रेगनेंसी को लेकर जाओगे?
Sir, 6 months के लिए it should be totally quiescent. Only after that we'll counsel for pregnancy.
नहीं, वो तो अब हो गए ना.
And sir, sir,
में सेल कर रहे हैं.
And sir, routine monitoring has to be during pregnancy every 2 weekly by both nephrologists and gynecologists. And so blood pressure should be well controlled in the pregnancy. And sir, every monthly the cardiotopography should be done to see for the fetus. And sir, if it is there is preeclampsia, blood pressure is not controlled, then sir, the pregnancy should be terminated by 36.
Terminate नहीं कहो, उसको डिलीवरी कहो.
हाँ, delivery.
Don't use the word termination. Termination will be used at 20-22 weeks. You will deliver a fetus.
Yes.
But after 28-32 weeks, depending, the mother will get precedence. And if the things are not going the way we want to save the mother, we will electively go for intervention.
Yes.
ठीक है? Okay. उसके बाद contraception we have advised already. अच्छा, इस पेशेंट की अब आगे क्या हुआ इसको? She went in 2020. She came with advanced azotemia. क्या हुआ इसको तुम्हारे?
So most likely, sir, clinically she developed rapidly progressing renal failure, sir, over the 15 days, sir, in which she presented with increased creatinine and decreased urine output and breathlessness, sir. So, sir, most likely it could be RPGN, sir, since the course history was very small and it was very rapid.
But do we know her 2018, 2019 creatinine values?
So as per her, they were normal, always remaining between 1.1 and 1.
Okay. And she developed shortly. Okay, I give you this RPGN. At this point of time, क्या differential diagnosis आएगी तुम्हारे mind में biopsy से पहले?
Sir, whether there is a crescentic type of lupus nephritis, the one. Sir, other there can be a TMA, sir, thrombotic microangiopathy. Also, there can be other causes of RPGN, but so there was no history of any hemoptysis or breathlessness. So anti-GBM will be very low. Also, there was no history of any fever. So in IRGN also, sir, I will keep low possibility. Otherwise, the post.
फिर से बोलो क्या कह रहा?
तो उसको फीवर का हिस्ट्री नहीं था पहले, तो सर इन्फेक्शियस रिलेटेड ग्लोमेरुलर नेफ्राइटिस आई विल कीप इट लो. एंड
कौन से इन्फेक्शन रिलेटेड ग्लोमेरुलर नेफ्राइटिस यू नो ऑफ which can come with it, complicate this patient, since we are talking about infection related GN, which is very important. कैसे करते हो, क्या सोच सकते हो?
Sir, initially post streptococcal was most common, but sir now staphylococcal and others are more common.
What else?
Sir, and infective endocarditis that can cause the
viruses कौन से हैं जो प्रॉब्लम दे सकते हैं?
parvovirus,
Coxsackie, CMV, है ना? They can give problems. Especially parvovirus is known to create nuisance. तो उनका ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा हमें. Okay? और ये सब का ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. चलो RPGN की थोड़ी बात कर लेते हैं. How do you approach a patient of RPGN? Before we come back to this patient, how do you approach a patient of RPGN?
So RPGN, sir, will.
Time is running out. शॉर्ट में बताना RPGN. अगर पेशेंट के पास कम पैसे हैं और तुम्हारे पास वो RPGN, I give you क्या RPGN, I'm not wasting time कि वो CSGN था, ये AIN था, ये ATN था. मैं एग्री कर रहा हूँ RPGN था, वीक्स के अंदर आई है. मैं एग्री कर रहा हूँ 29 दिसंबर तक क्रिएटिनिन बंद था उसका. RPGN से आई है वो. क्या तुम्हारे दिमाग में पॉसिबिलिटी है, कैसे इन्वेस्टिगेट करोगे?
Sir, there can be possibility of sir, there can be three. So one can be, there can be an anti-GBM disease. One, there can be immune complex, or there can be post-immune disease. So sir, we'll like to see the complement levels, so to see if it is low in immune
अरे
complex.
जब बायोप्सी कर ही रहे हो तो कॉम्प्लीमेंट लेवल में क्यों पैसे खराब करोगे?
हाँ sir. Sir, in biopsies, sir, there will be 3 classes. Sir, in class 1, it will be anti-GBM, in which sir, there will be linear deposition of IgG, which will be seen on immunofluorescence. So on class 2, on
और क्या मिल सकता है? डिफ्यूज डिपॉजिट एंटी जीबीएम के अलावा और कुछ मिल सकती हैं चीजें? कुछ और मिल सकती हैं चीजें डिफ्यूज डिपॉजिट के अलावा?
so sorry,
डिफ्यूज डिपॉजिट के अलावा अच्छा चलो इम्यून कॉम्प्लेक्स पे आ जाओ, विच इज आवर एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. देख लेना इसको और क्या मिल सकता है डिफ्यूज डिपॉजिट्स में. ओके, इम्यून कॉम्प्लेक्स में क्या क्या डिफरेंशियल रखते हैं हम लोग?
So immune complex means there can be SLE, so lupus nephritis can be present. So post-infectious glomerular nephritis that can present. So cryoglobulinemia, or so there can be MPGN. So they can all present.
आईजी से क्यों ना? आईजी भी तो इम्यून कॉम्प्लेक्स नेफ्राइटिस करके आएगा.
Sorry sir. But कुछ disturbance आ रहा है.
तो आईजीजे है, लूपस है, क्रायोग्लोबुलिन्स हैं,
Yes.
सेक्शंस हैं, we have to think of all that. ठीक है?
Yes.
अच्छा, अब तुमने इम्यून कॉम्प्लेक्स जीन तुम्हें मिला. तीसरा क्या है?
So third is post-immune, sir, in which the deposits will be low, and so usually seen in vasculitis.
क्लासिकली क्या पोस्ट इम्यून में तुम्हें मिलता है?
Sir, usually on immunofluorescence, so we will not see the deposits in post-immune.
और LM?
So LM is a we'll see necrotizing vasculitis, so that will be usually crescentic type of glomerular nephritis. So will be
सेंटिक तो सारे हैं, तीनों ग्रुप में है. पोस्ट इम्यून में क्या पेक्युलरिटी है एलएम में?
So necrotizing granuloma, necrotizing also presents are present, and granulomas can be present in GP and EGP, and in an MPA there will be no granulomas.
If a patient has ANA positivity,
yes,
and he has granulomas on biopsy, he is ANA positive,
yes,
how will you reconcile that?
So it can be either because of sir, in 20 sometimes with class 4 there can be ANCA which can be can be associated. Also whether it is associated with any drugs which can cause granulomatous, or sir any TB etc. can also present with
TB हम छोड़ा है. We are talking about MPA, polyangiitis granulomatosis, और ग्रैनुलोमा मिले. ग्रैनुलोमा समझते क्या हो तुम लोग? क्लास चीज क्या है इसमें बायोप्सी में? एकदम क्लास चीज. बायोप्सी तुमने देखी, और क्रिसेंट्स तुम्हें दिख रहे हैं खूब सारे. क्रिसेंट्स से कुछ आइडिया लग जाएगा तुम्हें. अगर मैं कहता हूँ आईएफ, उसका टिश्यू जो आया नहीं आया है.
सर अगर क्रिसेंट्स So if crescents all are of the same age, so then it is usually suggestive of ANCA. And if crescents are of different age, sorry, if they are of same age, they're anti-GBM. And if they are of different age,
तो एकदम ही बॉम्ब कर देती है सारी.
yes.
तो
And so
धीरे-धीरे पकती है.
yes.
छोटे बड़े सब मिलेंगे तो इम्यून कॉम्प्लेक्स बीच में होगी.
Yes.
अब किसी पेशेंट में एएनए पॉजिटिव है और नेक्रोसिस दिख रही है बायोप्सी, ये प्रोग्नोसिस किस पे डिपेंड करेगी इसके पेशेंट की?
Or if they are fibrous crescents, so fibrous and
fibrous तो बात ही नहीं करी. एएनए पॉजिटिविटी आ रही है. होता है ना एक ओवरलैप टाइप होता है ना टाइप 4, जिसमें सीरोलॉजिकल मार्कर्स होते हैं और एलएम जो है उसमें ग्रैनुलोमा होता है टाइप 4 में. तो उसकी प्रोग्नोसिस किस पे डिपेंड करती है? या एंटी जीबीएम के साथ कभी-कभी एएनए पॉजिटिव आता है, तो उनकी प्रोग्नोसिस जो है ना जिस पे डिपेंड करती है, दैट यू शुड नो. ओके, अच्छा चलो अब ये बताओ मेरे को क्रिसेंट बनते कैसे हैं?
So crescents are usually formed by at least 2 layers of the parietal epithelial cells, and so they should involve 10% of the circumference of the glomerulus. So
शुरुआत में सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात क्या हुई? क्रिसेंट बन गया. बना कहाँ है क्रिसेंट? Where is it situated?
Sir, in the Bowman space. In the Bowman.
कैसे बन गया वहाँ पे?
Sir, because of the disruption of the Bowman's capsule, and so there is usually at
Bowman's
least
capsule नहीं word use करोगे. You will use the visceral epithelium में rend हुआ, वहाँ से फिब्रिन और ये सब पॉलीमॉर्फ चले गए, फिर
Yes.
वहाँ पे फायरवर्क स्टार्ट
Yes.
ओके रेंट हो गया वहाँ पे
Yes. Yes.
then you have that problem.
Yes.
ओके सो अब ये हो गया हमारा और आपको क्रिसेंट्स मिल गए इसमें देन हाउ विल यू ट्रीट हर
Uh,
क्रिसेंटिक GNM बताओ उसका ट्रीटमेंट
Sir, in lupus, sir, we will treat it only with methylprednisolone and cyclophosphamide, sir, has to be given cytotoxic therapy. And sir, depending on what crescents are, sir, अगर mainly cellular crescents है, then sir, we'll hit hard, sir, with immunosuppression. And sir, in anti-GBM and ANCA, sir, we'll also consider plasmapheresis, sir, in these patients. But sir, in
कुछ
lupus,
बायोप्सी में बेटे बायोप्सी में देखो जल्दबाजी मत किया करो बायोप्सी में सिर्फ क्रिसेंट देखोगे और कुछ नहीं देखोगे इतने बड़े हथियार उठाने से पहले प्लाज्माफेरेसिस और मिथाइलप्रेडनिसोलोन और
sir, we'll see the tubulointerstitial fibrosis, sir, कितना है.
देखोगे ना प्रोग्नोसिस तो उस पे गवर्नड होती है ना ग्लोमेरुलर लगते बड़े अट्रैक्टिव हैं
Yes.
हम लोग सारी जिंदगी ग्लोमेरुलर से एनामर्ड रहे लेकिन गेम तो ट्यूबुलर इंटरस्टिशियम में खेला जाता है ना किडनी का तो पैरेन्काइमा ग्लोमेरुलर इंटरस्टिशियम में ग्लोमेरुलाई तो वेस्कुलेचर का कंटिन्यूएशन है वे ऑफ स्पीच पहले अफरेंट आर्टरी और पीछे इफरेंट आर्टरियोल तो वेसल है वो तो
Yes.
लेकिन जो रियल किडनी है वो तो ट्यूबुलर इंटरस्टिशियम है वी नेफ्रोलॉजिस्ट टेंड टू गिव लेस क्रेडेंस टू इट तो सारा गेम तो ट्यूबुलर इंटरस्टिशियम गवर्न करेगी अगर बहुत फाइब्रोसिस है इफ्टा बहुत ज्यादा है देन यू विल नॉट लाइक टू हिट हर हार्ट अदरवाइज उसको और कॉम्प्लिकेशंस आएंगे ठीक है
Yes.
अच्छा और फिर अब आगे कैसे चलोगे मान लो उसको 20-25% इफ्टा है
Yes.
और सेलुलर क्रिसेंट्स है अब कैसे ट्रीट करोगे इसको इस पर्टिकुलर पेशेंट को क्या हुआ रीजन क्या खराबी हुई इसको शी डिटोरेटेड ना एंड शी इंप्रूव्ड
Yes. Yes.
तो देयर वाज रिवर्सिबिलिटी
Yes.
यू ट्रीटेड हर डिड अ गुड जॉब
Yes.
तो बायोप्सी में क्या मिला होगा इसके
So most likely precentric GN or the TMA either of them would have.
ओके टीएमए लगा और क्या डिफरेंशियल हो सकता है तुम्हारे दिमाग में टीएमए आई कैन सी टीएमए मिला इसलिए उन्होंने फ्लेक्स किया
Yes.
ठीक है
Yes.
और क्या हो सकता था बायोप्सी में तो देखो ये एस्टैब्लिश्ड है
Yes.
कि लूपस था ठीक चल रही थी एक गलती उसने ये करी प्रेग्नेंट हुई वहां मिसमैनेज हुई दूसरी गलती ये थी कि इम्यूनोसप्रेशन हमने जल्दी हटाया वी एग्री
Yes.
अब हम आ गए 2020 में बायोप्सी करी शी सीम टू बी वेरी बैड फॉर्चुनेटली बायोप्सी करी उसमें रिवर्सिबिलिटी मिल गई हमें
Yeah.
तो एक तो तुमने टीएमए बताया और क्या होगा और कुछ मिल सकता है उसमें बायोप्सी में
Sir.
ये चीजें नहीं सोचते यार टीएमए आएगी क्योंकि लूपस में टीएमए बहुत कॉमन है व्हाट आर द अदर कॉजेज ऑफ टीएमए
Yes.
तो अगर तुम्हारे दिमाग में नहीं आ रहा तो रिवर्सिबिलिटी का इंपॉर्टेंट कॉज बहुत ज्यादा कॉमन है वो और
Interstitial class 4 sir lupus nephritis sir.
और टीएमए के कॉजेज बताओ बिसाइड्स लूपस
Sir TMA sir it can be like it is divided into sir two, one is HUS and one is DTP. Sir HUS again is D plus D minus. Sir in D plus it is because of the diarrheal induced, that is enterotoxin induced. And sir D minus can be because of strep pneumoniae or sir it can be because of sir it can
चलो
be
एक तो हो गया डायरिया डी टीएमए हो गया और बताओ क्या कॉजेज
sir in TTP sir it can be because of deficiency of ADAMTS13 or so there can be presence of antibodies to ADAMTS13 sir in 60 to 80% there can be deficiency of ADAMTS13 or autoantibodies that can be present. The other causes can be in the form of infections, so like HIV, so they can be because of chemotherapy, like mitomycin C, etc. So post bone marrow transplantation, so they can be the other causes of TMA. And the post transplant hyperacute rejection can also present as TMA, and the calcineurin inhibitor toxicity.
एसएलई के किस एसोसिएशन में एसएलई के साथ एसोसिएशंस होते हैं ना रोमेटॉइड होता है पीएसएस होता है जोग्रेन्स होता है आरए होता है वी यूज्ड टू यूज द वर्ड एमसीटीडी और आप शायद कहते हैं अनडिफरेंशिएटेड यूसीटीडी वगैरह वर्ड यूज करते हैं कौन सा एसोसिएशन एसएलई का बाय इटसेल्फ सिनिस्टर है तुम्हारे पेशेंट में अगर वो होगा मेरे को अचानक याद आया वो ज्यादा सिनिस्टर है टीएमए से याद आया है
एप्ला
ये टीएमए से बात चली है स्क्लेरोडर्मा रीनल क्राइसिस बहुत अगर जोग्रेन साथ में पिगी बैक कर रहा है पीएसएस पिगी बैक कर रहा है एसएलई ओवरलैप पीएसएस के साथ आ रहा है तो स्क्लेरोडर्मा रीनल क्राइसिस बिल्कुल वीक्स में किडनी उड़ा देता है वीक्स एंड यू विल हैव प्रोफाउंड चेंजेस मैलिग्नेंट हाइपरटेंशन कभी मत भूलना एज अ कॉज ऑफ टीएमए hypertension can be aggravated. Coffee पे लो, जी coffee पे, ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So now how you will treat this patient? Creatinine अब 3 है शायद इसका,
हाँ, sir.
ठीक है? तो
yes.
या तो उसको TMA था या और रिवर्सिबल फैक्टर्स थे, तुम जाके
Yes.
पढ़ोगे.
Yes.
अब उसको आगे कैसे ट्रीट करोगे?
Sir, already one dose of cyclophosphamide was given of 500 mg. So, sir, we'll like to continue the same, sir. If she has agreed for that, so then we'll give her 6 doses of cyclophosphamide, 500 milligrams, sir, to be given uh, every 15 days, sir, for the next 3 months. And sir, steroids initially after methylprednisolone, sir, we'll start with oral prednisolone. And so then initially, sir, we started 1 milligram per kg, and then, sir, every 2 weeks, sir, we'll taper it off. And sir, after 3 months of the cyclophosphamide, sir, we'll again review. And then, sir, we'll start with maintenance immunosuppression, sir, if she comes in complete remission. And so maintenance immunosuppression now, sir, most preferred is mycophenolate mofetil. So, sir, we'll start 2 grams.
कोई advantage है IV cyclophosphamide का oral cyclophosphamide पे? Are you aware of any trial?
So Cyclops trial. So Cyclops trial was there, which compared IV and oral cyclophosphamide.
क्या था उसमें?
So they had compared, so that in vasculitis it was done. So they had compared the oral versus IV.
हम लोग भी 1991 में IV देते थे. उसके 3 एडवांटेज थे बेटे. एक तो क्यूमुलेटिव डोज कम रहती है.
Yes.
कंप्लायंस बेटर रहती है. आई थिंक ब्लैडर टॉक्सिसिटी को अगर उस वक्त मेसना वगैरह दे दो IV के साथ तो लेथल नहीं होती. तो साइक्लोप्स में क्या ऑर्डर साइक्लोप्स से?
So that it is equally efficacious. The relapse was slightly lower in the oral one, but so the cumulative toxicity was higher when the oral drugs were given. Oral cyclophosphamide.
Good. ठीक है. अच्छा ये बताओ, अभी जो लेटेस्ट क्लासिफिकेशन आया है, हमने तो उम्र ARA के साथ काट दी SLE में. अभी जो लेटेस्ट क्लासिफिकेशन आया है, स्लिक आया है, उसके बाद वो यूरोपियन अमेरिकन 2019 का है ना?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Tell me something about it.
Sir, in that, sir, now they have made ANA as the compulsory entry criteria. So, sir, ANA.
एक क्वेश्चन यहीं पे बता दो. Is it possible? ये मैंने जान के तुम्हें ट्रैप किया था. Is it possible in an established SLE that ANA may be negative?
Sir, only 5.
ये क्लासिफिकेशन थोड़ा ANA पे बेस्ड है ना?
Yes, yes.
उसके क्लिनिकल फीचर्स तो वो ARA वाले ही हैं, मोर और लेस थोड़े चेंज किए उन्होंने.
Yes.
पॉलीन्यूरोपैथीज को, क्रेनियल्स वगैरह को इंपॉर्टेंस दी है और कुछ चीजें और करी हैं.
Yes.
ANA नेगेटिव हो सकता है एस्टैब्लिश्ड लूपस में?
Sir, only 5% of patients can present with ANA negative, sir. But ANA has a very good sensitivity. So usually more than 95% patients will present with ANA positive.
ANA की भी ना एक एज होती है. When can you miss ANA? लूपस को 15 साल से लेकर 70 साल की लेडी में लूपस में when can you miss ANA? I'm not interested in this rectification. मैं तो बच्चों से बेसिक चीजें पूछना चाहता हूँ. ये तो सबको पता ही होगा ना. कई दफे क्या होता है, थेरेपी के बाद ANA में टर्न नेगेटिव, थेरेपी के बाद, और एकदम इनिशियल डिजीजेस में 10-15 साल की उम्र में ANA जो है हो सकता है ना आए. मिड ईयर्स में जिसमें तुम्हारी पेशेंट है ANA की सेंसिटिविटी बहुत हाई है. ये मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ, टंग इन चीक कह रहा हूँ, क्योंकि अब जो सारे क्लासिफिकेशन है दे आर रनिंग ऑन द बेस ऑफ ANA. अंडरस्टैंड देम करेक्टली. अगर ANA नेगेटिव है तो आप कंसीडर ही नहीं करोगे. इज दैट करेक्ट? अच्छा, ये हो गया. और बताओ.
Sir, उसमें fever was added as additional criteria. Remaining all the criteria were almost same. And so based on the points, sir, if the points are around 10, sir, then it is considered to be lupus.
सबसे ज्यादा पॉइंट्स ऑर्गन में किसके लिए हैं?
सर रीनल के लिए. If sir it is class 2
या नेफ्रोलॉजिस्ट. लूपस तो हमारी है, रूमेटोलॉजिस्ट को मत देना. लूपस हमारी है, ठीक है. रीनल को सबसे ज्यादा 2 to 10 के स्केल में you do the points.
Yes.
And kidney has the maximum points. ठीक है? Okay. In such a patient, और नया थेरेपीज क्या तुम जानते हो? नई थेरेपीज क्या वोग में है? 50 साल में सिर्फ एक ही ड्रग को FDA ने अप्रूव किया है. After cyclophosphamide, which is that drug?
Belimumab has been. approved, but sir, it is presently only
मुंबई
for
वालों का ये अच्छी बात है, लेटेस्ट सब पता होता है. ग्रेट. बहादुर इज डूइंग गुड जॉब on you. बताओ बेलीलुमैब की हाउ डज इट एक्ट?
so belimumab is an anti-BAF, sir, anti-B cell activating factor inhibitor, sir. It is so presently approved only for extrarenal lupus, but the trials are going on for lupus nephritis. And sir, for extrarenal lupus, it has found to be effective. Sir. And so
कैसे एक्ट करती है ये? हाउ डज इट एक्ट?
so the exact mechanism.
अच्छा, देख लेना. वो बेसिकली ब्लिस जो है ना, वो ब्लिस वो एंटीबॉडीज उनको सीक्रेट करती है, प्रमोट. शॉर्ट में मेरे को लूपस इटियोपैथोजेनेसिस बताओ. आई एम आस्किंग यू टू मच बिकॉज़ लूपस अभी मेरे को 10:30 तो करने ही है ना, तो डॉक्टर भल्ला दोबारा नहीं बुलाएंगे. इज अ टफ टास्क मास्टर. तो 10:30 तो बजाने ही है. तो शॉर्ट में मुझे लूपस की इटियोपैथोजेनेसिस बताओ.
So lupus is an autoimmune disease, and sir, usually it happens because
Can you call lupus vasculitis? Lupus vasculitis में आ सकती है, मतलब vasculitis में lupus शामिल हो सकता है.
Yes, sir, it can involve the vessels, sir. Both
Question में trap है बेटे.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It can.
Is lupus under the classification of vasculitis or not? Or you can have vasculitis in lupus. That is the question.
Yes, sir. It comes in the classification, sir. In immune complex mediated, sir, they can be present.
नहीं, vasculitis जो है,
yes sir,
उसमें lupus जो है कैसे आएगी? Lupus classically is it a vasculitic disorder? लिखा है.
Yes sir. In the Chapel Hill, so they have divided small vessel vasculitis into post-immune and immune complex. And sir, in immune complex, they have also included.
Actually, इसमें nobody is clear, but lupus is basically autoimmune disease, correct?
Yes.
In about 5 to 10% of lupus, there is small vessel vasculitis.
Yes.
So some people may say that vasculitis के अंदर में lupus आ जाता है. That is conjectural. But as far as I am concerned, I will say lupus is an autoimmune disease. And in a few minutes, we'll spend some time on etiopathogenesis of lupus. But vasculitis के क्लासिफिकेशन लूपस आ जाता, वो कैसी वैस्कुलाइटिस होती है लूपस की? क्या इन्वॉल्व करेगी? स्मॉल वेसल होती है ना,
स्मॉल वेसल. यस सर, स्मॉल वेसल.
स्किन इन्वॉल्व करेगी बेसिकली. ठीक है, स्किन वगैरह इन्वॉल्व करेगी. ओके, इटियोपैथोजेनेसिस के बारे में बताओ थोड़ा.
Sir, it is an autoimmune disease, and sir, usually it happens because of autoantibodies, sir, chiefly towards towards the DNA. So anti-dsDNA antibodies and anti-DNA, or sir other components.
वो एंटीबॉडी सारी बनी, डिजीज हो कैसे गई यार? एंटीबॉडीज आ कहां से गई, कैसे डिजीज हो गई?
Sir, usually there is netto. Sir,
बड़ी लूपस में क्या? 3-4 बड़ी.
So one is netosis, sir, a neutrophil extracellular trap, sir. That is one of the most right now in therapy, theory, sir, in which the neutrophils may undergo breakdown, and so they may release the chromatin and other substances from the nucleus, and they may cause increased exposure of the autoantigens. And sir, autoantibodies are formed against these autoantigens, and so they.
अगर मैं तुमको बताऊं, लूपस में प्रॉब्लम ये है, there is a plethora of antibodies. Antibodies against histones, antibodies against nucleic acids, antibodies against mitochondria. Classically problem lupus में क्या है? Lupus में classical problem ये है कि apoptosis सुना है? You know apoptosis? I'm giving you a. Can you take it from here? Apoptosis.
So apoptosis is defect.
सुनो मेरी बात सुनो. Just build a story. I'm giving you 4 pillars. If you know this much, I'm sure exam में तुम्हें कोई रोक नहीं सकता. Apoptosis, B cell, T cell, and chemokines. Now build your thread.
Sir, in lupus, so there is a defective apoptosis, sir. So because of which, sir, the autoantibodies are exposed, and so they will cause increased activation of.
What is apoptosis, by the way? What is apoptosis?
So apoptosis is a programmed cell death, sir. It is a programmed cell.
लूपस में क्या प्रॉब्लम हो गई है? एपोप्टोसिस हो रही है, नहीं हो रही है, क्या हो रहा है?
सर, there is a defective apoptosis, which happens in lupus.
क्या मतलब हुआ इस बात का? डिफेक्टिव तो यार एग्जामिनर भी है. क्या हो रहा है? the clearance of the
apoptotic bodies.
nucleic acid, the nuclear material is not there, so they are staying here for a long time. If they are staying here for a long time, they are creating a recreation. Then gradually over time, B cells will be coming into action. It is a T helper suppression disease. You will have Th2 paradigms. T helper cells जो है वो activate हो जाएंगे. T suppressor cells का क्या होगा?
The T suppressor cells will
कम हो जाएंगे. लॉजिकल सी बात है यार, इतना तो गैस कर ही सकते हो. डिजीज जब मैग्नीफाई कर रही है, बी सेल्स को बढ़ना है, बी सेल्स को प्रोलिफरेट करना है, इसमें गंदे बी सेल्स कौन से हैं? कौन से बी सेल्स सबसे गंदे हैं इसमें? उनके मार्कर्स तुम्हें पता होना चाहिए. अगर घुसता है थ्योरी तो तुम्हारी उस थ्योरी में आएंगे, तो प्रैक्टिकल में शायद ना आए.
CD1920
यू शुड नो. रिटुक्सिमैब क्यों नहीं काम करती इसमें? चलो अगर 90-20 है, व्हाई इज रिटुक्सिमैब नॉट दैट अ सक्सेस इन लूपस एज इट इज इन आर्म? Will you like to give rituximab to your patient?
No sir, only in resistant or refractory cases.
मतलब it's not a big deal.
Not
rituximab तो मुझे लगता है वो चटनी है, जिसको चाहो दे दो, जहाँ चाहो दे दो. But lupus में वो नहीं establish हो पाई. जबकि तुम कह रहे हो 1920 B cell proliferation, क्यों? There is the answer, because the primacy is in the defective apoptosis, primacy in the T cell dysregulation, T suppressor cells are inhibited, T helper cells are up, and they are secreting lot of interferons. Okay, so just by kicking out CD20, you will not be able to do much. ये by and large, बाकी exactly nobody really knows. I think books are written on it. तो अच्छा ये बताओ कैसे डिसाइड होता है एटियोपैथोजेनेसिस? हम बात कर रहे हैं कि किसी को क्लास 5 होगा, किसी को 4 होगा, और तुम्हारे पेशेंट में तुम क्या प्रे करोगे कि 4 हो या 5 हो? व्हाट इज लेस सीवियर? दो क्वेश्चन है. एटियोपैथोजेनेसिस मुझे बताओ किसको क्लास 4 कैसे होता, 5 कैसे होता है? लूपस में बीमारी वही है, डिफेक्टिव अपॉप्टोसिस है, लिम्फोसाइट घूम रहे हैं, यंग लड़की है, एक को 4 हो गया, एक को 5 हो गया.
Sir, if the antibodies, they are sir ananic, sir if they are cationic, and sir if they are large, sir then they do not cross the GBM, so they will remain in the subendothelial space. But in this situation,
एंटीबॉडी की इंपॉर्टेंस कहाँ पे है यार इसमें? इसमें तो पहले एंटीजन को ढूंढोगे ना बेटे.
हाँ,
एंटीबॉडी को पड़े रहने तो जहाँ एंटीजन होगा वहाँ हो जाएगी ना यार. तो एंटीजन पे कंसंट्रेट करो. समझ गए? You got the point?
Yes.
Wait, lupus is an autoimmune disease, plethora of antibodies being triggered against an antigen which should not have been there in the first place. Antigen removal has been inappropriate by our body. And then you have complement mopping, you have interleukins, you have interferon alpha, you have suppression of TGF, and so many things keep coming. Okay? तो किसको membranous होगा, किसको immune complex होगा?
Sir, if the deposits are sir cationic deposits, and so if they are large in size, so they will not be able to cross, and they will remain in the subendothelial space. So they will mainly develop the class 4 lupus nephritis. But if they are ananic and they are present in the subepithelial space, so they will develop the class 5 lupus.
तो subepithelial space की disease क्यों नहीं proliferate करती? वो safe क्यों है इतनी? relatively safe है ना?
Yes.
I have answered your question. Type 5 will be easy to handle.
So because there is less activation of complement, sir, and less chemoattractants are there.
WBC नहीं पहुंचता कम वक्त. Diabetes नहीं होती WBC के, वो तो इधर ही रह गया ना.
Yes.
Your endothelial वो pores and all are relatively intact. वो aggravate नहीं होते. Complement system aggravate नहीं होता. ये cascade aggravate नहीं होता. Disease class 4 को आप कहते हो diffuse problem. प्रोलिफरेशन ही प्रोलिफरेशन, रो रही है किडनी, भरी पड़ी है प्रोलिफरेशन से. 5 में थिकनिंग है, मेम्ब्रेनस है, तो इन्फ्लेमेशन नहीं है, डिस्ट्रक्शन नहीं है इतना ऑर्गन. क्या चीजें हैं जो लूपस की थेरेपी में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट? एक अगर एडवाइस तुम्हें देनी है पेशेंट को, और जो हम नेफ्रोलॉजिस्ट नहीं देते. पेशेंट तुम्हारे पास आया, तुमने उसको एजा लिख दिया, प्रेड लिख दिया, टेलमिसार्टेन लिख दिया, HCQS लिख दिया, और क्या एडवाइस दोगे? इंडिया में रहते हो.
So blood pressure control with anti-proton.
टेलमिसार्टेन दे तो दिया भैया.
And so
सॉल्ट रिस्ट्रिक्शन, वाटर रिस्ट्रिक्शन कर लो. अगर तुम्हारा 3-4 क्रिएटिनिन पे तो करना पड़ेगा. और क्या एडवाइस दोगे? ये बात याद रखोगे तुम लोग.
So cardiovascular protection.
कार्डियोवास्कुलर कॉम्प्लिकेशन सबसे ज्यादा कॉमन क्या लूपस का? चलो ये पूछ लेता हूँ. तो वो सवाल नहीं है.
Atherosclerosis sir is more common.
सबसे ज्यादा पेरिकार्डाइटिस ही होती है एक्टिव लूपस में. इसीलिए एग्जामिनेशन में पेरिकार्डियल रग की इंपॉर्टेंस है. never forget to palpate lymph nodes in lupus. Never forget to see the oral cavity. Eye में क्या क्या मिलेगा?
So there can be presence of scleritis, episcleritis.
Very good, very good. Epidermis scleritis. सबसे ज़्यादा ड्राइनेस मिलेगी, कंजंक्टिवाइटिस सिक्का ड्राइनेस, शर्मर्स टेस्ट कर लो, नेगेटिव मिलेगा. और रेटिना में?
रेटिना में सर they can.
ये एग्जामिनेशन में आते हैं इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ. ऑप्टिक न्यूराइटिस नहीं तो कॉटन वूल एक्सुडेट्स मिलते हैं हाइपरटेंशन की वजह से. कॉटन वूल एक्सुडेट्स. ठीक है, याद रखना. चलो, लेट्स गो बैक टू आवर प्राइमरी क्वेश्चन. अरे यार, आज कार्ड चले अभी मैं आके कार्ड ले लेते हो ना. कार्ड चलाना नंबर याद कर क्या पूछो. कार्ड ले लेता है, कार्ड से पेमेंट हो जाता है. कार्ड पे कार्ड. अरे यार तू देखो अपना चलाना था. हाँ बताओ. सॉरी, मैं अपना कार्ड नंबर सेट किया आया था यार चलाने के लिए. एक से चलाएगा. हाँ बताओ. सॉरी. पेशेंट को हमेशा एडवाइस देना इंडिया में, ऑल ऑफ यू हु आर लिसनिंग, दैट दे शुड स्टे अवे फ्रॉम सन. फोटो सेंसिटिविटी इज अ great aggravator of lupus, and we always forget that. Always remember, India is a sun exposing country, and sunscreen have really lot of value. It is itself a topic कि कैसे sun exposure से disease aggravate हो सकती है. You might like to go back and read, है ना? But always in your OPD slip mention, use sunscreen, avoid sun exposure, things like that. It will give you big dividends. Okay? अच्छा चलो. और क्या पूछे तुमसे? डॉक्टर बल्ला आप पूछिए कुछ. डॉक्टर अश्विनी. डॉक्टर अश्विनी.
You have covered, sir, most of the things.
नहीं यार, आपसे थोड़ी. एक बॉस का क्वेश्चन है, मैं फाइनल क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ, फिर डॉक्टर साहब पूछेंगे. ट्रांसप्लांट वगैरह पूछ लो बच्चे से. लिपिड प्रोफाइल कैसी होती है ऐसे? ये डॉक्टर साहब ने पूछा था मुझसे, डॉक्टर भल्ला ने. तो डॉक्टर साहब को जवाब दे दो. डॉक्टर साहब ट्रांसप्लांट किससे कुछ पूछ लो, बात कर लो. बच्चा तो अच्छा है, इज अ गुड बॉय.
Sir, they'll have increase in LDL and total cholesterol. So they'll have an atherogenic type of lipid profile, sir, in these patients. So sir, statins also should be given.
डॉक्टर साहब मान जाते हैं तो ठीक है, मैं जवाब नहीं दूंगा. सर पूछो आप इससे, क्या पूछना है?
नहीं आप प्लीज. नहीं आप पूछो. he is on the right track.
हाँ नहीं, अच्छा जा रहा है. तो अब इस पेशेंट को चलो ट्रांसप्लांट की जरूरत पड़ती है, ठीक है? हाउ विल यू प्रोसीड? थोड़ा ट्रांसप्लांट की बात कर.
Sir, in transplant, sir, actually patient should be in quiescent phase, sir, at least for 3 to 6 months, and should undergo dialysis at least for around 3 to 6 months. But then it should be done early, not very late. And before transplant, sir, we should see for APLA antibodies, sir, because if APLA is positive after transplant, there can be a very high chance of thrombosis, sir, of the graft post.
ये APLA disease इतनी कॉमन है तुम्हारे ख्याल से? APLA antibody ज्यादा कॉमन है, APLA डिजीज ज्यादा कॉमन?
So positivity is present in around 30% of patients of lupus.
लेकिन डिजीज इतनी नहीं है, 15-16% के आसपास होती है. एंटीबॉडीज, बट आई विल डू एंटीबॉडीज. यस, पगला इंट्राऑपी कोई प्रॉब्लम हो गई, आई एग्री, आई कंसीडर, आई विल डू अप्लाई एंटीबॉडीज. ठीक है?
Yes.
अच्छा चलो, और क्या करोगे?
And sir, then we can do the transplant, sir, because the graft and patient survival are comparable to other GNs. So recurrence rate is not very high.
इसको TMA हुआ था, रिमेंबर?
Yes, sir.
इसमें ये रह गया, TMA हुआ था, उसको नहीं भूलना. TMA की क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है ट्रांसप्लांट में? What are the other causes of TMA? देखो, अदरवाइज तो लूपस में स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड यू कैन गो टू ट्रांसप्लांट. लेकिन इसमें एक रायता ये फैला हुआ है कि इसको TMA हुआ था. अब TMA in transplant can be a very funny fish. It can be DHUS, then you don't have to worry. Now if it is complement driven HUS, तो कैसे ट्रीट करोगे बिफोर ट्रांसप्लांट? और मैं कहता हूँ कॉम्प्लीमेंट ड्रिवन HUS था. कौन कौन से कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स यू नो व्हिच आर अफेक्टेड?
So complement factor H, sir, complement factor I, so there can be membrane cofactor proteins, so that can be affected. Or sir, there can be C3 which can be affected, or also factor B can be affected, also DGK, diacylglycerol kinase, so they all can be affected. So most common is because of factor X or anti-factor H antibodies, so they can be.
इसको कैसे आगे प्रोसीड करोगे? इसमें टीएमए का इशू है
Yes.
और ये उस वक्त कोई साइक्लोस्पोरिन वगैरह खा नहीं रही थी,
Yes.
अब आगे भी तुम्हें साइक्लोस्पोरिन टैक्रोलिमस देना है. They are known to aggravate
And
H2STTP, agree?
yes,
तो इसमें और क्या क्या चीजों का ध्यान रखोगे? सपोजिंग मैं कहता हूँ इसको एग्रेसिव टीएमए है, अब कैसे आगे बढ़ोगे? तुम पे सारे रिसोर्सेज हैं दुनिया में जो अवेलेबल है, सब तुम पे है, कैसे आगे बढ़ोगे? अब ये लोगों की चीजें बातें खत्म.
so if complement factor H is there, then one option can be combined liver and kidney transplant, and so other can be, sir, we can give eculizumab, sir, in these patients, sir, and it has to be given
Eculizumab सब में दोगे? किस में दोगे eculizumab?
Sorry,
Is it a panacea for all TMAs and HUS और किसी specific उसमें eculizumab दोगे? ये पूछा जाएगा.
not so for all, only in complement factor deficiencies, so they will be useful.
नहीं, complement factor deficiencies F हुई, H हुई, I हुई, एक CMP होती है, और इसमें सब में किसमें दोगे? क्या देखोगे?
So we'll see.
देने से.
Sorry, sir, I didn't get you.
Eculizumab
Yes.
सब में देंगे कि कुछ specific TMAs में देंगे, HUS में देंगे?
So a typical HUS will give, sir, which is complementary.
सब में नहीं देंगे. We will only give. What is ADAMS 13?
So ADAMS 13 is, sir, a protease, sir, which usually cleaves the von Willebrand factor, sir, which causes which forms large ultramers to form clots, sir, usually in the platelets, and so that is usually deficient in TTP. So because of which the
किसी के 30-40% है ADAMS 13, क्या करोगे? ट्रीट करोगे उसे?
no, sir, it should be less than 10%, sir.
Yes, very good. Eculizumab के साथ क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
So there is increased chances of infections, or usually with capsulated organisms. Neiserial infections are very common. So vaccination
meningococcal vaccine, Haemophilus, diplococci सब
should be given before administering eculizumab. So it can also cause hypersensitivity and it can cause hepatic injury.
ठीक बात है, ठीक है. So you will have to keep a handle on that also. और पेशेंट को अगर ESRD हो गया, उस पर डोनर नहीं है और डायलिसिस पे है, what other precautions you will take besides giving her a good dialysis?
So immunosuppression levels should be low, so to prevent recurrent infection. So once the disease is worsened, and
तुम्हारी आवाज ब्रेक, I can't hear you. तुम्हारी आवाज ब्रेक कर रही है.
hello.
हाँ.
Yes, sir. So we'll have to prevent, sir, for sensitization events, sir. Try to avoid blood transfusions, etc., as far as possible. So we'll have to vaccinate the patient, sir, for.
Yeah, very good. Vaccinations are very important because meningococcal vaccines, infections, Haemophilus, they are known to be devastating with eculizumab therapy.
Yes.
They are very important. We have to keep that in mind. और हेमोडायलिसिस पे पेशेंट है, बर्नट आउट डिजीज है, और क्या ध्यान रखना चाहिए हमें? डायलिसिस करा रही, घर जा रही, डायलिसिस करा रही, न्यूट्रिशन का ध्यान रखोगे, विटामिन डी का ध्यान रखोगे, एरिथ्रोपोइटिन का ध्यान रखोगे, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. और कुछ ये मत भूलना कभी भी कि लूपस जो है ना, पैन डिजीज है, इसके एक्स्ट्रा रीनल मैनिफेस्टेशन भी हो सकते हैं. तुम्हारे मरीज को एक कन्वर्जन हो चुका है ना, तो सेरेब्रल लूपस कैन स्टिल हॉन्ट हर एंड क्रिएट मोर प्रॉब्लम्स. थ्रोम्बोसिस कर दे, कुछ कर दे, शी में हैव डिवास्टेटिंग सेरेब्रोवास्कुलर प्रॉब्लम्स, तो उसको दिमाग में रखना चाहिए. रूमेटोलॉजिस्ट में रिमेन इन पिक्चर. ओके, ठीक है. चलिए बताओ, EM किस किस पेशेंट में करना चाहिए?
Sorry, sir.
If you do a biopsy,
Yes.
EM किस में करोगे? सब में करना चाहिए आइडियली, तो लेकिन टिश्यू नहीं आया तो किस में EM करना चाहिए? देखिए क्या.
Sir, अगर हम class 1, sir, if they're suspecting class 1 or class 5, sir, in those situations, EM, sir, will be very important, sir, because in class 1, the light microscope will be normal. It will only be picked up on electron microscopy. So class 5, we'll like to see the deposit location, sir, exactly whether it is subepithelial.
Or not look लूपस कंडीशन में किसमें EM हेल्प करेगा? पेशेंट आया RPGN में, आपने बायोप्सी करी,
Yes.
RPGN का पेशेंट है, अभी लूपस उसका स्टिकर नहीं लगाया, तो और किस किस में EM हेल्प कर सकता है?
TMA
और नहीं, TMA से ज्यादा मुग्स वगैरह को मत भूलना, आजकल फ्लेवर है, मुग्स वगैरह है ना, मुग्स है, फिब्ररी GN है, इम्यूनोटेक्टॉइड है, इन सब में है ना, इन सब में बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके, सो आई थिंक सो विल कॉल इट अ डे. थैंक यू वेरी मच, यू हैव डन अ गुड जॉब. और जो छोटी मोटी चीजें मिस हुई उनको पढ़ लेना. आई थिंक ओके डॉक्टर भल्ला.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sunil Prakash, for this discussion. In fact, he has highlighted the importance that don't go with the fixed idea of a diagnosis like SLE. So start from the symptom like joint pains. So you have to have discuss a differential diagnosis. Anemia. He highlighted the importance of anemia, whether it is normocyte, normotromin, autoimmune, role of platelet, importance, ESR, and in a nephrologist case, for a nephrologist, urine routine examination is most important. He highlighted the importance of dysmorphic RBCs, then other causes of ANA positivity, then highlighted contraception in SLE. You must, I am sure now you will not forget the role of IUD, intrauterine device in these patients. Then differential diagnosis of petechial in these patients, and cryoglobulinemia as a differential diagnosis, pregnancy and SLE, how to tackle, then a role of CNI, when to prescribe, photosensitivity he highlighted. So please take home messages that photosensitivity is very important in a patient of SLE in our country, especially in India. Then transplant, then TMA. So role of various therapies like etrusumab. Then I think most of the things have been covered very nicely. And then as far as pathogenesis of crescent is concerned, again, you should remember how to answer in the exam. So this is basically you are being trained for exam. And I'm glad to share, Dr. Sunil Prakash, that there were 216 registrations and 125 direct and the rest were on YouTube. So it was, you are so popular teacher, and this today was the highest
सर
registration.
मैं नहीं हूँ, आप और डॉक्टर राणा, मुझे कोई गलत फहमी नहीं है, ये गंगाराम का फ्लैगशिप है. आपने छोटे भैयों को बैठा लिया अपने साथ. दिस इज ऑल गंगाराम क्रेडिट. Thanks to you, sir. It is your initiative. I am always impressed by your energy. Dr. Bhalla, I don't have seen more energetic nephrologists than Dr. Bhalla. It is a fact. Although I'm sitting on camera, it doesn't become less. In my life, I get to meet a more energetic nephrologist than Dr. Bhalla. 60 के तो हो गए कि नहीं अभी?
Yes, yes.
Great, sir. Great. मुझे उम्र नहीं पूछनी चाहिए थी. Female candidate को होगी. Anyway, sir. लगते तो नहीं हो. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
great day.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Raja.
Sir, unmute and then speak, sir. Unmute and
very useful and interactive. And having Dr. Sunil Prakash ji has also really added more flavor to the overall session. As they say that the proof of the pudding is in its tasting. So the same way, the kind of qualitative interaction what today we had and the kind of attendance we had, that itself speaks for itself for the qualitative discussions we had, and I'm sure all the students must have got benefit of it. So thank you very much, one and all. And as you are all aware, once again a soft reminder to you that all the today is the 8th edition. So all the earlier editions 1 to 8 is all available in YouTube. So we request you to get in touch, or in case if you want any other personalized clarification, or if you have any other interest to participate as a discussant in future, you're free to write to us. The email ID is mentioned in the left-hand side corner, or and you can get in touch. So thank you very much, one and all of you. Thank you, Dr. Rashid.
Thank you.